Somewhere in the hills, where the trees grow close together and the paths are made of packed earth and fallen pine needles, there is a small temple. It is not a famous temple. It is not a grand temple. It is simply a place where people once came to sit, and where the walls have grown soft with time. Tonight, a single lamp burns in the window. The flame is small. It moves gently, as flames do, responding to currents of air so faint they cannot be felt. The light it casts is amber and warm, and it touches the wooden walls, the worn floorboards, the corner where a cushion rests. Outside, the forest has its own kind of stillness. Not silence exactly, but a quietness that has settled like dust on old furniture. The kind of quiet that does not demand anything. A monk sits near the window. He is not doing anything in particular. His hands rest in his lamp. His eyes are soft, half closed, looking at nothing and everything at once. He has been sitting here for some time. He will sit here a while longer. The thoughts that move through his mind are like clouds passing across a night sky. They come, they go. He does not chase them. He does not push them away. They are simply there, and then they are not. This is how it is sometimes. The mind thinks. That is what minds do. And sometimes, when the night is quiet and the lamp burns low, the thinking slows on its own. Not because anyone forces it, just because the conditions are right. The temple smells of old wood and incense that was burned hours ago. The scent lingers in the corners, in the grain of the beams, in the fabric of the cushion. It is a familiar smell, the kind that does not announce itself but simply exists, part of the place, part of the night. Beyond the window, the trees stand in their patient way. They have been standing here for decades, some of them. They have seen many nights like this one, many lamps burning, many figures sitting quietly in the amber light. The monk's breath moves in and out. He does not count it. He does not shape it. It simply moves, as breath does, following its own ancient rhythm. In the distance, somewhere down the mountain, there might be a village. Lights and windows. People sleeping in their beds. Children dreaming. But from here, from this small temple in the hills, none of that is visible. There is only the forest, the lamp, the quiet. A moth has found its way inside. It circles the lamp once, twice, then settles on the wooden frame of the window. Its wings fold. It becomes still. Perhaps it will stay the night. The monk notices the moth the way one notices a familiar guest. Without surprise, without concern. The moth is here now. That is all. The flame flickers. Shadows move briefly on the walls, then settle back into their accustomed places. The same shadows that have rested here night after night. The same walls. The same worn wood beneath the same amber light. Time passes differently in places like this. It does not rush. It does not drag. It simply moves, like water finding its way downhill, like breath finding its way in and out. The cushion where the monk sits has held many bodies over the years. It has shaped itself to the weight of those who came before. It receives a person, supports without demanding anything in return. Outside, a breeze moves through the pines. The sound is soft, a whisper of needles brushing against needles. It rises for a moment, then fades. The trees return to their stillness. The monk's thoughts have grown quieter now. Not empty, but quieter. Like a room where the conversation has naturally wound down, where people sit together in comfortable silence, no longer needing words. Sometimes the night is like this, a chance to stop explaining things, a chance to stop figuring things out, a chance to simply be here, in this body, in this place, with this lamp burning its small, steady flame. The day has ended. Whatever it contained, whatever happened, whatever was said and done and thought and felt, it is over now. There is no accounting required, no understanding necessary, just darkness arriving as it always arrives. Just quiet, just rest. The monk has accepted this, as he has accepted it many times before. He has stopped trying to figure things out. He has stopped trying to understand. He has simply sat down in this familiar place, in this familiar light, and allowed rest to come. And rest is coming, slowly, gently, without fanfare. The kind of rest that cannot be forced. The kind that only comes when everything else has been set aside. The thoughts that troubled the day seem smaller now. The worries that seemed so pressing have faded to background noise. Not solved, not resolved, just quieter, less urgent, less demanding of attention. This is what thoughts do when they are not fed. They fade. They lose their urgency. They become like clouds at the edge of the sky, still visible perhaps, but no longer demanding attention, no longer filling the whole field of vision. The mind does not need to fight the thoughts. It does not need to push them away or argue with them or try to solve them. It simply needs to stop feeding them, stop giving them energy, stop turning toward them again and again. And this is what is happening now, in this quiet room, in this quiet night. The thoughts are not being fought. They are simply being allowed to fade, to settle, to find their natural level. There is perspective in the night, distance, the ability to step back from the concerns of the day and see them from a different angle. Not a better angle necessarily, just different, softer, more forgiving. The monk does not think about this in so many words. He simply experiences it. The gradual loosening, the slow release, the gentle settling of everything that was stirred up during the daylight hours. His body knows this rhythm. It has done this many times. It knows how to let go when the conditions are right, when the lamp burns low, when there is nothing left to do. And there is nothing left to do. Not tonight. Not in this hour. Everything that needed to be done has been done, or has been set aside for another day. And now there is only this moment, this breath, this quiet. The floorboards creak softly as the temperature drops. The temple settles into itself, the way old buildings do at night. It is a familiar sound, a sound that belongs here. Somewhere in the forest, an owl calls, once, twice, then silence. The owl is doing what owls do, hunting perhaps, or simply announcing its presence to the night. The monk does not wonder about the owl. He simply hears it, the way one hears rain on a roof. Present, then gone, then forgotten. The lamp continues to burn. The flame continues its small, patient dance. It will burn for hours yet, slowly consuming the oil, slowly filling the room with its amber warmth. And the monk continues to sit, not waiting for anything, not hoping for anything, just sitting, just breathing, just being here in this quiet temple, in these quiet hills, on this quiet night. The thoughts that do arise are softer now, less urgent. They come like distant sounds from a faraway room, muffled, easy to let pass. This is not something that requires effort. It is not something that requires trying. It happens on its own, the way sleep comes to a tired body, the way dusk comes to a summer day, naturally, gently, without being forced. The moth on the window frame has not moved. Its wings remain folded. It seems content to rest there, near the warmth of the lamp, sheltered from the night air outside. The monk's eyes have closed now, not in sleep, but in a kind of easy rest. There is nothing to see that he has not seen before. The lamp, the walls, the shadows, all of it familiar, all of it known. Breathing continues on its own. The chest rises and falls. No one is directing it. No one needs to. Outside, the forest rests in darkness. The trees are shapes against a slightly lighter sky. The stars are there, somewhere above the canopy, but from here they cannot be seen, only sensed. Points of light in an infinite distance, burning quietly, as they have burned for billions of years. The night moves forward in its own time. Minutes pass, or hours. It does not matter which. There is nowhere to be, nothing to accomplish. Just this temple, this lamp, this breath, this quiet. The incense scent has faded further now, but traces of it remain. Sandalwood, perhaps, or cedar, something that speaks of old rituals, old practices, old hands lighting old sticks in old holders, all of it continuing, generation after generation, all of it leading to this moment, this particular night, this particular stillness. The monk's body has grown heavy in the way bodies do when they are truly at rest, not limp, but settled, sunk into the cushion, into the floor, into the earth beneath the temple, gravity doing its patient work. A thought drifts through, something about tomorrow, perhaps, something that needs to be done, but the thought does not stay. It passes like a leaf on a stream, carried away by the current, disappearing around a bend. There is only this, the lamp, the warmth, the quiet, the breath that moves without being moved. The flame has grown smaller now, as flames do. The oil is being consumed, slowly, steadily. The light in the room has dimmed slightly, the shadows deepening at the edges, drawing closer. But there is still enough light. There is always enough light. Even a single candle can fill a room. Even a small flame can push back the darkness. The monk does not think about this. He simply sits in the light that is there, accepting it as it is, not wishing for more, not fearing less. The temperature has dropped further. The night air seeps in through the cracks in the walls, through the gaps around the window. But the monk's body has adjusted. It finds its own warmth, its own equilibrium. This is how it goes. The body adapts. The mind settles. The night continues. Somewhere in the temple, a mouse moves. The soft scratching of tiny feet on wood. It has come out from its hiding place, perhaps looking for crumbs, perhaps simply exploring. The monk does not turn toward the sound. The mouse is welcome here. All creatures are welcome here. The scratching stops. Silence returns. The lamp burns on. And now the thoughts have grown very quiet indeed. They still arise from time to time, but they are faint, like stars just visible at the edge of vision. There and then not there. Present and then gone. This is what happens when the conditions are right, when the body is still, when the room is warm enough, when there is nothing pressing, nothing urgent, nothing that demands attention. The mind, left to itself, grows quiet. Not because it is forced, but because it is allowed. The breath finds its own way, steady and slow. The chest rising and falling like a gentle tide. The moth on the window frame has moved slightly, adjusted its wings. But it has not flown. It seems content to remain where it is, in this pocket of warmth, in this small shelter from the night. The owl has not called again. Perhaps it has found what it was looking for. Perhaps it has moved on, deeper into the forest. Or perhaps it simply sits on a branch somewhere, silent, watching, waiting for nothing in particular. The lamp flickers once, then steadies. The shadows shift briefly, then return to their places. Everything settling back into its familiar arrangement. This is the nature of stillness. It is not static. It breathes. It shifts. It adjusts. But underneath all the small movements, there is a deeper quiet. A quiet that does not change. The monk's hands have not moved. They rest where they have rested all along, folded gently in his lap. The weight of them is barely noticeable. Just hands. Just skin and bone and flesh. Just part of this body that sits here in this temple on this night. There is something in the act of sitting still that changes everything. When the body stops moving, when the hands stop reaching, when the feet stop carrying, something settles. Not just the body, but something deeper. It is as if motion itself has a weight, an energy that takes effort to maintain. And when that motion stops, the energy settles, like water finding its level, like dust returning to earth. The monk has stopped. Everything has stopped. And in that stopping, rest becomes possible. Real rest. The kind that goes deeper than sleep. The walls of this room have witnessed this many times. Many figures sitting, many bodies settling, many minds growing quiet in the amber light. The walls do not remember exactly. Walls do not have memory, but they hold something, a quality, a sense of accumulated stillness that makes stillness easier to find. This is what sacred spaces offer. Not magic, not miracles, just accumulated intention, accumulated practice. Layer upon layer of people coming here to rest, to sit, to be still. And the monk is part of that now, part of that long chain of stillness, adding his own rest to the rest that has come before. Not that he thinks of this. He does not think of anything now. His mind has grown too quiet for thought. There are only sensations. The warmth of the room, the weight of his body, the rhythm of his breath, and beneath that, quieter still, the subtle feeling of simply existing, of being here, of being alive, without needing to do anything about it. This is what gets forgotten in the busy hours of the day. This simple fact of being, this underlying presence that does not change, even when everything else changes. But in the night, in the quiet, in the stillness, it can be felt again. Not thought about, just felt, just experienced, just rested in. The breathing continues, soft and low. The rhythm like a tide, like a heartbeat, like the pulse of something larger than any individual body. And the silence deepens, layer upon layer, sinking down through the body, down through the floor, down into the earth, until the silence is everywhere, until the silence is everything. Not absence, never absence, just presence of a different kind, the presence of stillness, the presence of rest, the presence of peace. The room has grown darker now. The flame has shrunk considerably, the oil nearly exhausted. The pool of amber light has contracted, pulling back toward the lamp like a tide retreating from the shore. But the monk does not notice. His eyes have been closed for some time. His attention, such as it is, has turned inward, away from the room, away from the lamp, away from the shadows and the walls and the window. There is just the body now, the weight of it, the warmth of it, the gentle movement of breath that continues without any direction. And somewhere beneath all of that, something quieter still, a stillness that does not have a name, a presence that does not require thought, a peace that asks nothing and gives everything. This is where rest lives, not in the doing of anything, but in the undoing, not in the adding of something, but in the allowing of what was always there. The monk has found this place, or the monk has been found by it. The distinction does not matter. What matters is only this, that rest is here, that quiet is here, that peace is here, in this body, in this room, in this night. The flame flickers one last time, sputters, and goes out. The darkness is sudden but not surprising. The monk does not startle, does not open his eyes, does not reach for more oil or another light. There is no need. The darkness is simply the next thing, the natural progression of the night, and in the darkness, rest continues, perhaps deeper now, without the distraction of light, without the flicker and dance of shadows, just pure, unbroken darkness, and within it, a body breathing, a heart beating, a being at rest. The floorboards have stopped creaking. The temperature has stabilized. Even the small sounds of the forest have faded, leaving only the softest backdrop of silence. And in this silence, there is space. Space for the thoughts to drift. Space for the breath to move. Space for the body to simply be. Not empty space, just open space. The kind of space that welcomes whatever arises and lets it pass without grasping. The flame burns lower still. The pool of light has shrunk, pulling closer to the lamp, leaving more of the room in shadow. But the shadows are soft. They are not threatening. They are simply the absence of light, the natural companion to the flame. The monk's awareness has grown diffuse, not scattered, but spread thin, like morning mist across a valley, touching everything lightly, holding nothing tightly. This is rest. Not sleep, not yet, but rest. The kind of rest that comes before sleep, that prepares the way for sleep, that opens the door through which sleep will eventually walk. The breath continues, slower now, deeper. The spaces between inhale and exhale have grown longer. The body is doing what bodies do when they are ready for rest, and the mind is doing what minds do when they are no longer needed. Growing quiet, growing still, letting go of the day, letting go of the effort of thinking, not forcing anything, just allowing. The lamp will burn for a while yet. The flame will continue its small dance. The shadows will continue their slow encroachment. And the monk will continue to sit, or perhaps will have slipped into sleep, there on his cushion in this small temple, in these quiet hills. It does not matter which. Both are welcome. Both are natural. Both are part of this night. The moth sleeps now, if moths sleep. Its wings are perfectly still. It has found its place of rest. The mouse has returned to its hiding place, wherever that may be. Perhaps in a gap between the walls. Perhaps under the floorboards. Somewhere warm. Somewhere safe. The forest rests in darkness. The trees stand motionless, their needles still, their branches unmoving. No wind stirs them. No creatures move among them. Just stillness. Just quiet. Just the deep, patient rest of things that have learned to wait. This is the world in the deep of night. This is what the world becomes when the sun is gone and the lamps are out and the creatures have found their places of rest. Quiet. Still. At peace. And in that peace, healing happens. Restoration happens. The small tears and breaks of the day are mended. The small exhaustions of living are repaired. Not by effort. Never by effort. Only by rest. The monk's body does its work. The cells divide and repair. The muscles relax and recover. The mind processes and integrates and lets go. All of this happens without awareness, without intention, without will. It happens because this is what bodies do, in the night, in the dark, in the deep quiet of sleep. And the monk does not need to understand it, does not need to direct it, does not need to do anything at all. Just rest. Just sleep. Just let the body do its quiet work. The darkness has softened further now. The first true hint of dawn, still an hour or more away, but present. A slight lightening at the very edge of things. A subtle shift from black to the deepest gray. But inside the temple, it is still dark. The lamp is out, long since out, and no other light has taken its place. Just darkness, just quiet, just rest. The monk sleeps on. The breath continues, slow and steady and peaceful. His body continues to rest, heavy and still on the cushion, supported by the floor, supported by the earth. His mind continues its quiet work, processing, integrating, letting go, preparing without knowing it for another day. But that day is still far away. Hours yet. Many hours. For now, there is only this: the darkness, the quiet, the deep rest. And somewhere, far above, the stars are beginning to fade, not disappearing, but paling, as the light of the approaching sun begins to touch the sky. Still invisible here, below the horizon, but coming, always coming, the eternal cycle, night and day, dark and light, rest and waking. For now, the monk rests in the darkness. For now, there is nothing to do, nothing to think, nothing to figure out. Just rest, just quiet, just peace. The breath moves softly, in and then out, in and then out. The body rests, the mind rests, everything rests. The coolness of the night has settled into every corner of the temple now, into the spaces between the floorboards, into the gaps in the window frame, into the folds of the cushion where the monk sits. But the coolness is not uncomfortable. It is simply the temperature of the night, the natural state of things when the sun has been gone for many hours. The body has adjusted. The body always adjusts. There is wisdom in this adjustment, not the wisdom of thinking, but the wisdom of the body itself. The wisdom that knows how to regulate, how to compensate, how to find balance without being told. The blood vessels near the skin have narrowed slightly, conserving warmth. The metabolism has slowed, requiring less fuel. The breathing has deepened, taking in more oxygen with less effort. None of this is conscious. None of this is directed. It simply happens, the way water flows downhill, the way leaves turn toward light. The body knows what to do, and so the monk rests, his body taking care of itself, his mind finally quiet, his whole being simply present, simply here, simply resting in the darkness of this ordinary night. The lamp has been out for a long time now, the oil exhausted, the flame extinguished, but the memory of its warmth lingers somehow, in the walls that absorbed its heat, in the air that was warmed by its presence, in the feeling of the room itself. This is a room where lamps have burned for many years, where warmth has gathered and dispersed in an endless cycle. The room remembers warmth even when the lamp is cold, and the monk remembers warmth too, somewhere beneath the surface of sleep. The warmth of the day, the warmth of this room, the warmth of being alive in a body that knows how to rest. But these are not thoughts. Thoughts have stopped. These are more like echoes, faint impressions that drift through the sleeping mind without disturbing anything, present and then gone, like ripples that spread and fade, like sounds that arrive and pass. The night continues, hour after hour. The stars wheeling slowly overhead, invisible but present. The moon, wherever it is, casting its pale light on other hills, other forests, other temples. Here, there is only darkness, only quiet, only the soft sound of breathing, barely audible, continuing without effort, without thought, without will. The temple has weathered many seasons, many years of rain and sun and wind and snow. The wood has darkened with age, has absorbed the smoke of countless incense sticks, the breath of countless visitors who came and sat and left again. But the wood remains, solid, present, doing what wood does, which is simply to be wood, to hold its shape, to provide shelter, to stand between inside and outside, between warmth and cold, between rest and the wide open night. The monk's body has its own kind of weathering. Years of sitting have shaped it. Years of breathing have moved through it. Years of sleeping and waking, eating and walking, thinking and not thinking. But none of that matters now. Now there is only this body, in this moment, in this darkness, heavy with rest, soft with sleep, doing what bodies do when they are allowed to simply be. The breath continues. It has its own rhythm now, divorced from waking consciousness, following the ancient patterns written in the cells, in the blood, in the very structure of being alive. The lungs expand and contract. The heart beats. The blood moves through its endless circuits, carrying oxygen, carrying warmth, carrying life itself through the dark channels of the body. None of this requires attention. None of this requires effort. It happens on its own, as it has happened for billions of breaths before this one, as it will happen for billions of breaths after. And the mind, for once, is not interfering. The mind has stepped back. The mind has grown quiet. The mind has found its own kind of rest, its own kind of letting go. The thoughts that might arise, the worries, the plans, the memories, the fears, all of them have settled. Like sediment in still water, they have drifted down to the bottom, leaving the surface clear, leaving the depths undisturbed. This is what can happen in the deep of night. Not an end to thinking. The mind will think again. The mind will wake and start its busy work once more. But for now, for these hours, the thinking has paused. The mind has found a deeper quiet, and in that quiet, there is something like peace, something like stillness, something like the space between breaths, extended and deepened and allowed to simply be. The monk does not know any of this. He is too deep in sleep to know anything. But his body knows. His cells know. The ancient patterns that have been passed down through countless generations, that remember how to rest, how to heal, how to restore. This does not require consciousness. It does not require understanding. It simply works, quietly, persistently, through the dark hours. The muscles that have held tension begin to release. The knots that have formed from stress and effort begin to soften. The small hurts and strains of the day begin to heal, and it happens without effort, without will, without anyone directing it. The body knows what to do. It has always known. Outside, the forest stands in its own kind of rest. The trees are not sleeping, not exactly, but they are still. Their processes have slowed. Their leaves, their needles, have stopped their daytime work of capturing light, of making food, of growing. Now they simply stand, simply wait, simply be trees, in the darkness, in the quiet, in the long hours before dawn. There is a kind of patience in trees that humans rarely understand, the patience of things that have no choice but to wait, the patience of things that measure time in seasons, in decades, in centuries. The trees around this temple have been here longer than the temple itself. They were here when the first stones were laid, the first beams raised. They will be here, perhaps, when the temple has crumbled and returned to the earth. But they do not think of such things. They do not think at all. They simply stand, simply grow, simply rest, when rest is what the night asks of them. And the night asks rest of all things, of the trees and the temple and the monk and the moth and the mouse and the stones and the earth itself. Rest, quiet, stillness, the great pause between one day and the next, not a void, not an emptiness, but a fullness of a different kind, the fullness of simply being without doing, the fullness of presence without action. If there is willingness to receive it, the monk has received it. His body has received it. His mind has received it. And now he rests, deep and complete, in the heart of the night, in the heart of the darkness, in the heart of peace. The breathing continues, soft and low, the rhythm steady and slow. The heart beats, the blood flows, the body does its work, and the night continues, dark and quiet and full of rest, hour after hour, breath after breath, moment after moment, on and on, into the depths of the night, into the depths of rest, into the depths of peace. Not the absence of something, but the presence of something else, something deeper, something that was always there beneath the busyness of the day, beneath the noise of thinking, beneath the effort of trying. Just this, just stillness, just quiet, just being. The temple has become very quiet now. Even the small sounds have faded. Even the settling of the wood has stopped. Even the faint breath of the wind through the trees has grown still. This is the deepest part of the night. The hours when the world seems to hold its breath, when everything pauses, when even time seems to slow. The monk breathes in this stillness. His lungs fill with air that has grown cold and clear. His lungs empty, releasing the breath back into the room, back into the night. This is all that happens. This is all that needs to happen. Breath in, breath out. The symbol exchange that keeps life going. Not complicated, not difficult, just happening, as it has happened since the moment of birth, as it will happen until the moment it stops. The body knows this rhythm. It has known it all along. Before thought, before language, before anything that could be called understanding. Just breath, just body, just life, continuing in its quiet way. The darkness around the monk is complete. There is no light now. The lamp has long since gone out. The stars are hidden by the roof. The moon, if there is a moon, shines somewhere else. And yet the darkness is not frightening. It is not oppressive. It is simply darkness, the natural state of the night, the condition in which rest goes deepest. The eyes need not work in darkness. The mind need not process images. Everything can simply rest. And the monk rests, his eyes closed, not because he chose to close them, but because they closed on their own. His body still, not because he holds it still, but because stillness is what the body wants. This is surrender. Not the surrender of defeat, but the surrender of trust. The surrender that says, I do not need to be in control. I do not need to understand. I can simply rest. And in that surrender, something opens. Something softens. Something lets go. Just rest. Just quiet. Just this moment, resting in darkness, resting in peace. The hours continue their slow passage. The earth continues its slow turning. Somewhere on the other side of the world, the sun is shining. But here, in this temple, in this forest, in these hills, there is only darkness, only quiet, only rest, and that is enough. The breath continues, slower now, deeper, the rhythm of deep sleep. The body continues its work, healing, restoring, preparing for another day. But the mind does not know this. The mind is quiet. The mind is at rest. The cessation of thought, the pause in the endless stream of thinking that fills the waking hours. Not nothing, never nothing, but something different, something quieter, something that does not require effort. And in that pause, something happens. Not anything that can be seen or measured, but something real, something important. The tensions of the day release. The worries that were held so tightly loosen their grip. The fears that seemed so present fade into the background. Not gone. Nothing is ever truly gone, but quieter, smaller, less dominant. A chance to reset. A chance to return to baseline. A chance to remember what lies beneath all the noise. Stillness. Quiet. Peace. These things are always there, always available, always waiting. But they get covered over by the busyness of the day. They get drowned out by the noise of thinking. And then the night comes, and the silence comes, and the rest comes. And what was always there can be felt again, can be known again, can be rested in again. Just rest, just quiet, just the chance to stop trying so hard. The monk sleeps. His body knows nothing. His mind knows nothing at all. There is just breath, just body, just the quiet work of rest. And that is enough. The floorboards are cool now. The warmth of the day long since faded. The walls are cool. The air is cool. But the body maintains its warmth, wrapped in itself, conserving its energy, doing its quiet work. And in the mind, if there is anything at all, it is only this: rest. Deep rest. The rest that comes when everything is allowed to stop. There is a particular quality to this hour, the hour that comes after midnight, but long before dawn, the hour when even the most wakeful creatures have found their places of rest, the hour when the world seems to pause, to gather itself, to simply be still. In cities, this is the hour when the streets are empty, when the lights in windows have gone dark, when the sounds of traffic and voices and movement have faded to nothing. But here, in the hills, there is no traffic to fade, no voices to quiet. There is only the forest, and the forest is always quiet in its own way. Even during the day, even when the birds are singing and the insects are buzzing and the wind is moving through the branches, the forest has a quietness underneath it all. And now, in this deep hour, that quietness has risen to the surface. It fills everything. The spaces between the trees, the air itself, the darkness that wraps around the temple like a blanket. The monk breathes in this quietness. His lungs fill with it. His body absorbs it. It seeps into his cells, into his blood, into the very fabric of his being. This is nourishment of a different kind, not food for the body, but rest for everything. Rest for the muscles that have worked. Rest for the mind that has thought. Rest for the heart that has felt. All of it resting now. All of it simply being, without effort, without will, without even the awareness that it is happening. The cushion beneath the monk has compressed slightly under his weight, conforming to the shape of his body. It has done this many times before. It knows this weight. It knows this shape. It knows how to support without resisting, how to hold without grasping. And the floor beneath the cushion has supported many cushions, many bodies, many nights of rest. The beams of the temple have carried this weight for years. The earth beneath the beams has carried it for millennia, layer upon layer of support. From the cushion to the floor to the beams to the earth, to whatever lies beneath the earth, all of it holding, all of it supporting, all of it making rest possible. The monk does not think about this. He does not think about anything. He simply rests, supported by all of this, held by all of this, at peace within all of this. Time passes. More hours. The darkness begins to soften, almost imperceptibly, at the very edges. The first hint, not of dawn, but of the possibility of dawn. Still hours away, but coming. But there is no hurry. There is never any hurry. The dawn will come when it comes. The light will return when it returns. For now, the darkness remains. The quiet remains. The rest continues. The monk has not moved. His body has found its position, its place of maximum comfort, and it stays there, still, peaceful, at ease. The breath continues, in and out. The rhythm unchanged. The ancient pattern, carrying life forward, moment by moment, breath by breath. Just breath. just body, just this moment, not needing to understand, not needing to figure out, not needing to do anything at all, just resting, just being, just letting everything be as it is. The temple and the forest and the hills and the village far below, the stars and the moon and the vast empty spaces between them, the monk and the moth and the mouse and every other creature that has found its place of rest, all of it resting, gently, without effort, without judgment. Rest, restoration, the quiet work of renewal. The monk does not dream, or if he dreams, the dreams are so quiet, so formless, that they leave no trace. There is just darkness, just rest, just the deep silence of sleep, the sleep that heals, the sleep that the body craves after a long day, the sleep that allows everything to stop, to settle, to be restored. Not active, not working, just resting. In the deepest sense of the word. The cells of the body are active, of course. They are always active, doing their quiet work, even in sleep, especially in sleep. This is when the repairs happen. This is when the restoration occurs. But the monk knows nothing of this. His conscious mind has withdrawn. His awareness has dimmed to almost nothing. There is just the body, doing what bodies do. The forest around the temple has grown very still. Not a branch moves, not a needle falls. The trees stand like sentinels, patient and watchful, though they watch nothing. This is the deepest part of the night, the hours when even the owls are quiet, the hours when the world seems to pause between one breath and the next. Soon, though not yet, the first birds will begin to stir. The first faint stirrings of dawn will touch the eastern sky. The cycle will begin again, but not yet. For now, there is only darkness, only quiet, only the deep, complete rest of the sleeping world. The monk breathes, in and out, in and out. The rhythm unchanged, the pattern unbroken. His body rests, his mind rests, everything rests, all of it gentle, all of it complete, without asking anything in return. Peace. Not the peace of having solved everything, not the peace of having figured everything out, just the peace of rest, the peace of letting go, the peace of simply being here, now, in this body, in this place. And that peace is enough. It has always been enough. The temple rests in its silence. The forest rests in darkness. And somewhere in all of that, a body rests. A mind rests. A being sleeps, deep and peaceful, waiting for nothing, wanting nothing, simply being. The chance to stop. The chance to rest. The chance to let go of everything and simply be. Deep, dreamless sleep. The kind of sleep that the body needs, that the mind needs. Not doing anything, just resting, just being restored. The hours continue to pass. The darkness continues to soften, so slowly that it cannot be perceived moment to moment. Only in the accumulation of moments does the change become apparent. But even that does not matter. The monk does not notice. He sleeps on, his body breathing, his heart beating, his mind at rest. The moth has not moved. It sleeps too, in its way, conserving its energy for another day of circling lamps, of seeking warmth, of living its brief moth life. The mouse sleeps in its hidden place, curled into a small ball, whiskers twitching occasionally with dreams, if mice dream. The temple sleeps, if temples can be said to sleep. It stands in the darkness, silent and still, holding the space for rest, as it has held it for years, as it will hold it for years to come. And the forest sleeps. The trees stand motionless, their needles still, their branches unmoving. No wind stirs them. No creatures move among them. Just stillness. Just quiet. Just the deep, patient rest of things that have learned to wait. This is the world, in the deep of night. Quiet. Still. At peace. And somewhere in all of that patience, in all of that stillness, the monk sleeps. The moth sleeps. The mouse sleeps. Everything rests. Everything simply is. And that is enough. In that rest, something continues. Something that does not need attention. Something that carries on, moment by moment, whether noticed or not. The quiet work of being. The simple fact of existence. The gentle, ongoing presence of life itself. It does not ask to be understood. It does not require effort. It simply is, as it has always been, as it will always be. This is what remains when everything else falls away. When the thoughts quiet, when the body stills, when the night grows deep. Just this, just being, just the simple fact of here, now, alive, not doing, not thinking, not planning or worrying or figuring out, just resting in the darkness, in the quiet, in the peace that was always available. The temple has stood through many nights like this. It will stand through many more. The wood and stone and earth know nothing of fatigue, nothing of rest in the way that bodies know rest. But they provide the space for rest. They contain the quiet. They offer shelter from the vastness of the night. And in that shelter, the monk sleeps. His body knows nothing of temples or forests or hills. His mind knows nothing at all. There is just breath, just body, just the gentle, ongoing rhythm of life. The chest rising, the chest falling, the air moving, the blood flowing, the heart beating, all of it happening on its own, all of it continuing without effort. Just rest, just be. Just let everything continue as it continues. The darkness outside has begun its slow transformation. Not yet lighter, but somehow softer. The quality of the night has changed in ways too subtle to perceive directly, but present nonetheless. The deepest hour has passed. The slow ascent toward morning has begun. But inside the temple, nothing has changed. The darkness is still complete. The quiet is still deep. The rest continues, unbroken, undisturbed. The monk's body has been motionless for hours now. Only the breath moves. Only the chest rises and falls. Everything else is still. held in the gentle grip of sleep. This is the body's natural state when allowed to rest fully. This deep stillness, this complete letting go. The body knows how to do this. It remembers even when the mind forgets. And so the monk rests, not because he is trying to rest, not because he is doing anything at all, just because the conditions are right, and rest is what happens when the conditions are right. The breath comes in, soft and slow. The breath goes out, soft and slow. The rhythm unchanged for hours. The pattern, steady and ancient. There is a kind of perfection in this. Not the perfection of achievement, but the perfection of simply being what one is. The body being a body. The breath being breath. The night being night. Nothing more is needed. Nothing more is asked. And the night continues for a while longer, allowing everything to simply be. Just this. Just now. Just here. Just rest. The temple stands in the darkness, patient and still. The forest surrounds it, patient and still. The hills contain the forest, patient and still. The earth contains the hills, patient and still. And somewhere in all of that patience, in all of that stillness, the monk sleeps. The moth sleeps. The mouse sleeps. Everything rests. Everything simply is. The breath continues, soft and slow. The night continues, dark and quiet and still. The rest continues, deep and peaceful and complete. Nothing more is needed. Nothing more is asked. Just this. Just rest. Just the quiet of the night. The hours will pass. The darkness will lift. The dawn will come eventually, as it always does. But for now, there is only this. This moment. This breath. This rest. And it is enough. The temple rests in silence. The forest rests in darkness. Everything rests. The breath finds its way, soft and easy. The rhythm ancient and slow. The body rests. The mind rests. And the night continues, moment by moment, breath by breath, dark and quiet and still. At peace. The air moves gently, in and then out, without effort, without thought. Just the body doing what bodies do. Just the breath finding its own rhythm. The darkness wraps around everything. Soft and complete. Not hiding anything, just holding it. Just allowing it to rest. And somewhere in all of that darkness, a body sleeps. A mind is quiet. A being simply exists, without needing to do anything, without needing to be anything, without needing to understand anything at all. Just this. Just now. Just here. The temple stands patient in the darkness. It has stood through many nights. It will stand through many more. There is no hurry. There is never any hurry. The forest surrounds the temple, patient and still. The trees have their own kind of rest, their own kind of waiting. They do not count the hours. They do not anticipate the dawn. They simply are, moment by moment, through the long night. And somewhere within it all, The monk continues to rest, his breathing slow and even, his body heavy and still, his mind quiet in a way that it rarely is during the day. This is the gift of the night, not understanding, not insight, just rest, just quiet, just the chance to stop for a while. The breath moves on its own now, soft and steady, in and then out, in and then out. No one counting, no one watching, just the body breathing, the heart beating, the blood flowing, all of it happening as it has happened for billions of years in billions of bodies on billions of nights. There is nothing special about this night, nothing unusual about this rest. It is simply what happens when the conditions are right, when the darkness comes, when the quiet settles, when the body is tired and the mind is ready to let go. And so rest happens, sleep happens, peace happens, not as an achievement, not as a reward, just as the natural unfolding of things, just as what comes next when what came before is allowed to end. The darkness, the quiet, the stillness, and somewhere in all of it, rest, deep rest, complete rest, just resting, just being, just this, the night continuing on, into stillness, into quiet, into peace, just this, just this, just breath, just rest, and the darkness, soft and complete, and the quiet, deep and full, and the peace, present and available, gentle and complete, for as long as it needs to be, for as long as rest continues, for as long as the night lasts. Just this, just rest, just peace, and the breath, soft and slow, finding its own way, without effort, without thought, without anything but the simple fact of being. Just breath, just rest, just this.